We are going to do some work with our fingers and our hands and our forearms to work on grip strength. So grip strength and foot strength are tied to longevity, and so we are going to work on that. For the first exercise, you need a rubber band or a hair tie, and we want it to not be super stretched out. So with your rubber band, you're going to place it around your fingers, right below your fingernails, around the thumb, and then we're just opening the fingers and closing. And we want to keep the fingers straight. So we don't want the fingers bent while we're doing this, and we want to spread them out. Yes, your rubber band is probably going to move, and that's perfectly fine. So we will feel this in our forearm, by our thumb. We're opening and closing. We want to make sure we do both hands. And if you notice that one hand might be not as strong as the other, do a few more on that side that's a little bit weaker, because we want to learn to strengthen it, and we want to start evening out that strength on each side. Okay, the next thing we're going to do are some finger lifts. So you need a book, a notebook, a table, and you're going to place your hand on your flat surface, and then we're just going to lift each finger while keeping the others on the surface. That ring finger will get you. Oh, make sure you do both hands. I have to really think about that ring finger. So as you can see, I did those, and my arm is flat. Now, if I'm standing up and doing that, it's going to be more like this. So it would be, it changes the position of the arm and the muscles. You can see I'm having a harder time. So when the arm is flat or more in line with the wrist, it's easier to do than if we're here. That's just something to keep in mind when you are doing this. So let's go ahead and stretch our fingers, turning our arm upside down so our fingertips are facing the floor, and then just gently pulling the fingers back. Making sure we do both hands. And we're going to do some wrist curls, and this is going to help us strengthen our forearms. I recommend starting with the lightest weight that you have possible. Even a water bottle works. And you want to make sure you have your arm resting on something to keep it flat. So whether that's a book or a table, I'm even going to bend forward a little bit here. And you want your wrist to bend and come all the way down. And then we're going to keep our elbow on our surface, trying to maintain this 90-degree angle. And then we're going to bring this weight up, keeping that forearm on the table, the book. And we want to try to come up as straight as we can without getting any twisting in the wrist. So if you're not sure what it would look like, try it without a weight first. Again, keeping that 90-degree angle. And then we're going to reverse that. So same thing. We're going to let the wrist extend all the way, almost let the weight roll out of your hand. And then we're bringing it all the way up. So doing about 8 of these are good. If you find that you can do more than 8 with whatever weight you have, it's time to switch to something a little bit heavier. And then we'll make sure we do the other side. So finding that 90-degree angle, let the wrist come all the way down, and then we're going to bring it up. You might have to make some adjustments as you're doing this. And then we're going to make sure we flip the wrist, 90-degree angle, almost let the weight roll out of your fingers and then bring it up. Again, 8 is about the number we want to be doing. And then we're going to talk about how to pick things up to help improve our grip strength. Because a lot of times when we're opening things or closing them, we're using our whole hand, but the grip strength actually comes from the forearm. We also need to work on this grabbing strength, because sometimes you'll see as we age, our fingers start to curl in. It's because we're not stretching the tendons here in our hands more. That's why that flat work is so important, and the stretching of the fingers. But when we're picking up something, instead of picking it up and putting it in the palm of our hand, we're going to practice picking up with just the fingertips. So we squeeze with the fingertips, and then we're lifting. You can do this with a water bottle. You can do this with a glass. Anything you go to pick up, think about picking it up with just the fingertips. You will feel this in your hand because we are working on that hand strength. So we are picking up with just the fingertips. The last thing we are going to do is a stretch for this forearm area. I'm going to show you in the chair. However, you could do it on a table or a book. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn your arms, that your fingers face you. Place your palms down on a chair or a table. And then you're going to shift your weight back, keeping your palms flat. And you're going to get this stretch up the arms. It's amazing. And then you can adjust where your hands are for more of a stretch. And we reverse it by keeping the fingers facing us, but flipping our hands over so the tops of our hands are down. And now we're kind of shifting our weight forward gently. And then ending with some wrist circles. That is a simple hand workout you can do to help improve grip strength.